Hello, so this is the third video I do on the road today. I'm hoping the quality doesn't go down as I do them, so crank them out. Today, this one is about a pet movement of mine, right? Or a group of movements that I really enjoy doing. I do them every single morning, and it's my take on a movement normally known as the hip crossover, and kind of combined with a movement normally known as the dead bug, right? It's my kind of merging of both things, right? The dead bug and the hip crossover, and how I see them. So, if you think I'm nuts, I've never seen these versions from anybody else. I might be nuts. This might be stupid, but maybe you like it. Maybe you like it. So the idea of the traditional dead bug, right? As I understand it, is that you're gonna teach your lower back to be your spine to be neutral as you move through your hips and shoulders. A concept that we've talked about before, right? And you do it in a contralateral pattern, which means right leg goes forward when the left hand goes forward and vice versa, right? I just demonstrated the opposite. That's what I'm talking about. Right leg, left hand. Kind of like when you walk. Kind of like when you walk, right? So the traditional dead bug looks like this. You extend your right hip and your right leg, and I'm actually doing left, I keep saying the wrong one, and you extend your right shoulder. That would be correct. And you keep your spine from reacting to that movement, right? That's the traditional dead bug. The traditional hip crossover, as I've seen it taught, kind of looks like this. You cross over your hip, you turn the hip in one direction, keeping the shoulder from following. And to do this, the spine must move. And as I understand it, and as I teach it, this is mostly a thoracic spine movement. Although a lot of people, will let their hips flop and the lower back flop and make it, a more global spinal movement. Not wrong or right? But it's just what it is. So the idea is, again, your spine is rotating, and you're controlling that rotation. You're segmentalizing it in different ways. Again, mostly used, as I understand it, to create, to promote good thoracic rotation, or rotation of your rib cage. So this is how I blend those two things. So first, I like to start my sequence. I do like a whole sequence every morning with just working on hip rotation and shoulder rotation without really moving much through my lumbar and thoracic spine, kind of like with the dead bug. I do move to my cervical spine. I really enjoy isolating cervical rotation in this movement as well. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to allow my hip to internally rotate. So this one's falling in. And I'm even allowing the arch of my foot to flatten. I'm keeping all my toes on the ground, but I'm allowing the arch of my foot to flatten. It's called supination of the foot, right? And then I'm going to bring it out and make the arch of my foot bigger and externally rotate my hip. Now, the dead bug part of this, I do a contralateral pattern where at the same time as I'm internally rotating my left hip, I am internally rotating my right shoulder. Now, normally, I will do this pattern turning my head in both ways. So first I'll do it turning my head away from this pattern. So I'm looking to my left as I internally rotate my left hip and internally rotate my right shoulder. I do that for a few, right? I obviously keep alternating left to right and turn to breathe out as I internally rotate. And again, what I'm trying to teach here is the ability for my hips and my shoulders to rotate without my spine reacting, kind of like the dead bug. That's what I'm doing it. Now, I'll do it in both ways. Like I said, this is more like a gait pattern, right? Your face is facing away from the internally rotating shoulder as you walk. Right? Now we're talking, right? This hip is internally rotated, the one in extension. That shoulder is internally rotated, the one in extension. And your face is turning away from that. That's a gait pattern. Now, I also do it in more of a throwing pattern, right? Where this one is externally rotated. And this one's internally rotated and I'm facing away from it. So the throwing pattern would be, it looks exactly the same if you don't think about it. But the throwing pattern would be, I internally rotate. Basically, it's the same thing, but I'm looking away from the external rotation. So I'm looking away from my externally rotated shoulder rather than towards it. I'm looking towards my internally rotated shoulder. Again, that would be a throwing pattern. But the hips and shoulder rotation are still contralateral, right? I am still, right now I have my right shoulder, my left shoulder internally rotated, and my right hip internally rotated, and I'm looking away from the externally rotated shoulder, looking towards the internally rotated shoulder. And again, the whole time, I am moving my neck, my cervical spine, I am moving through my shoulder socket, through my glenoid fossa, glenohumeral joint, I'm going to get technical about it, and I am moving through my hip socket, right? My labrum. Labrum, that's the incorrect word. Acetabulum. Acetabulum. My anatomy brain is getting weak. It's the old age. That's what I'm blaming it on. So anyhow, so that's one variation, right? Now, I also like to put a bit more movement into it, right? So when I put a bit more movement into it, it looks more like a regular hip crossover, but I do it in a very particular way, right? Here's how I do it. And please, try it, come on. Humor me and try it. It's cool. So what I do here is, I am gonna, again, internally rotate through here and through here, but I'm gonna allow a lot more hip movement to actually get a lot more internal rotation. So I'm gonna bring the right side of my hip towards the left side of my hip, causing internal rotation on the left, right? External rotation on the right, because hips rotate. When you're going into that contralateral pattern, they rotate away from each other, right? Yeah, kind of, right? This one rotates externally, while this one rotates internally. And again, internal rotation on the left, on the right, through the shoulder, on the left through the hip. And then once I'm here, I'm gonna start allowing even more movement, letting my spine, my thoracic spine in particular, because it's pretty much locked in through a lumbar, turn away from this arm. Now I'm working on that thoracic rotation, which I really suck at. I need a lot of work on the thoracic rotation. Now, I still have my big toe on the ground, so that's kind of anchoring me, but I really have normal rotation through here. So if I let my big toe come off the ground, I really have nothing else left, unless I want to let the lumbar spine go, right? Which I'm not doing, right? Because again, I want to focus on that rib cage, ability of the rib cage to rotate, which will allow me to get into those retracted positions that I talk about during the press and the push up and the row, right? To get that good shoulder movement. That's what we're working on here, really, when we're working on thoracic rotation, that good shoulder movement, plus that good head movement, which is why I always move my head. Now, the other version of it, I showed you one side, of course, I could do the same thing to the other side. The other version of it would be this. Again, that's a gate pattern, right? Internal rotation through my right, internal rotation through my left. I am looking away from the shoulder. It's a gate pattern. Now, a throwing pattern would be like this. I'm going to do my left side. I am going to look away from the external rotated shoulder towards the internally rotated shoulder. I'm going to extend through this hip as I internally rotate it. And again, my hips are coming off the ground. The limiting factor here is my thoracic rotation. I am keeping my, I'm not flopping. I am keeping the relationship between my rib cage and my hips pretty stable. My obliques here are contracted. And it's just opening up my thoracic spine in this direction as I look away from it. This hand will be pressing down. And of course I can come up on the other side and do this side as well. Again, more of a throwing pattern while laying flat on the floor. The reason I'm not flat on the floor is, as I said before, I get a lot of information from the ground. Right? I get a lot of information through my skin, right? From the ground. Allowing me to really feel what my spine is doing, what my shoulders are doing. Allowing me to keep the movement where I want it to be. Right? And there's no such thing as right or wrong movements. I really believe that. I mean, there's obviously movements that are not right for you or for me, right? There's movements that are not right for some people. But as a general rule, no such thing as right or wrong movements. But if our body's doing a movement that we're not intending it to do, that's usually not a great sign, right? Movement should be intentional. So if we want to do something, ideally we want our body to do that, what we want to do, right? Anyhow, play with that. Makes me feel good every morning. Maybe it'll make you feel good too. Have a nice day.